What's up, YouTube? I would like to rant about MGTOW and hypergamy for a little bit. And I was aware of what this was probably within 2 to 5 years after I went through a breakup of a relationship of about 10.5 years that lasted from I met this girl, when I was 17 and she was 16. We were camp counselors at a camp called Camp Friendship in Palmyra, Virginia, that I had been a junior counselor at the summer before, a counselor in training the summer before, and I was a camper at that camp for several years prior to that when I was younger. And I met this woman, and basically we fell in love. And it's funny because manifestation, I'd had a couple girlfriends in high school, but nothing like serious. And then for maybe a year, I hadn't met anyone. And I basically said, I'm going to go back to this camp and I'm going to meet someone. And that's what I did that summer. But we spent as much time as we could. We lived in different parts of the state of Virginia. I lived in Northern Virginia. She lived in Lynchburg. And so we saw each other on the weekends, like a couple times a month. And then I went to Boulder, from Virginia, to be a quote unquote student because my parents said, you're going to go to college. And I applied to University of Colorado and said, I'm going out to Colorado. But I came out here to snowboard and find good weed, essentially, to party. And that's what I did. And I started selling pot. And after she graduated, she came out here a year later. My parents brought her to parents' weekend when I was a freshman and she was still in high school. And she came out over Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we saw each other regularly, but she came out here and also became a student. And after the first year, I got like a 1.3 or something, my GPA, or my first year, and I took a break, essentially. I'm not a student. I was mowing people's lawns, like neighbors' lawns, when I was like 10 years old. I'm an entrepreneur. Was after my freshman year in college, I started selling a lot of pot, like 10, 20, 30, 40 pounds a month. And I was being pretty smart about it, except that I was gambling with what I was making. But the point is that I had a lot of money flowing in at like 19, 20 years old. I was making like $4,000 to $8,000 a month, and literally picking up a duffel bag and dropping it off somewhere. And so we would go out to dinners and like 5 nights a week, and we went to Kauai and the Bahamas, and just lots of trips. And it's funny because now I'm going to get into the rant. There was a moment when our relationship was really getting bad, like after 5, 6, 7 years, that when in the beginning this woman cooked, cleaned, and she did for a long time, but our relationship was going sour. I mean, she loved me to death, and I didn't realize what I had until it was too late, because I was an immature jackass in my teens and 20s, and up until my early 30s, actually, 39. And kind of quickly, although we were very much together, like a lot. I mean, I was like the married guy. That was like the joke. We never got married, but we were like inseparable, pretty much. And she cooked for me, buys clothes for me, just little gifts all the time, and and did my laundry and just wanted to be with me all the time. And I was so young and stupid, I just didn't realize what I had, and I didn't treat her very well after like the first couple years. I kind of wanted something different in a relationship, and I thought stupidly that you could just find a woman that was in love with you anywhere, that actually cared about you other than your mother. But nowadays, because of various social movements, and this is going to be kind of controversial. This is my viewpoint. Take it or leave it. Social media, various social movements, feminism. Women don't value family as much as they value independence. And if you don't know what MGTOW is, it's men going their own way. And if you don't know what hypergamy is a term that it has a couple different definitions. One of which is that people marry up, but really it has to do with women and how they treat men, and divorce laws, and just social contracts in relationships, where if you're not providing a set of things that women want, desire, that you have little or no value in the sexual marketplace. And after that woman breaking up with me after 10.5 years, I've basically been single for 10, 11 years since then, except for I dated one other woman that for like a year off and on, a very, very attractive, very, very traumatized woman that we had an amazing amount of chemistry with, way more chemistry than I had with the woman that I was with for 10.5 years. But that woman basically liked to manipulate me, was so traumatized, all she could really do was manipulate men, chew them up, and spit them out. And because I was a delivery driver, even though we were spending 5 nights a week, we went on trips, hot springs trips. She was the one that introduced me to hot springs, actually, like 3 or 4 years ago. We went to Strawberry Hot Springs and Valley View Hot Springs and Joyful Journey Hot Springs, and went to Crested Butte for a weekend. You know, I was making decent money as a delivery driver, like working 60 hours a week, but you know, spending every penny basically doing stuff with this woman, going to Whole Foods. Just it wasn't, when I hang out with a woman, I want to do stuff. I mean, and that's another thing. I mean, I was treating this girlfriend of 10.5 years poorly, but because I was a pot dealer and we were going out to dinner and taking trips and doing things, you can do anything to a woman except bore them or be broke, like unable to provide anything, unless you are an extremely attractive male or you have an authoritative type position, or like a musician or an artist, something that speaks to women like on an emotional core that they look up to. If you aren't one of those things in today's society, you basically are little to no value to women, and that's hypergamy, that women will always trade up for a more valuable man. And I'm not a misogynist. I love hanging out with women, but in my experience from when I stopped dealing pot in this long-term relationship and was basically trying to start an online business and playing online poker and not doing very well with poker. I'm a much better poker player now, although I don't play that much. I was just failing in a lot of ways, and within 12 to 18 months of me basically being broke, finally actually working jobs, but minimum wage jobs. I mean, her family kind of like forced her in a way to realize that I had little to no value left. And then she eventually broke it off. But after I moved out, I was still sleeping in a bed with this woman in the house that we lived in for like 7 months, like 5 nights a week. So there's obviously love there, or something, codependence as well. But she had to break up with me because I had to realize what an immature piece of shit I was being to become the guy making this video today that, yes, lives in a van, but very intentionally is also starting a stand-up comic career and doing his second stand-up open mic tonight, and is pretty excited about it, and doesn't want to drink to do an open mic. So you have to go through the weeds to get to the promised land, and I had to lose the only woman besides my mother that actually loved me to figure out how to become a man. So I think hypergamy is an extremely real thing. I think that, like I said, various social movements and social contracts and social media has changed the sexual marketplace to be basically an extreme. There's the men hold all the power. It's if anyone who doesn't see that is lying to themselves or ignorant or unintelligent. And I know that I'm going to go somewhere with comedy. I don't want to be famous. I'm not trying to be famous. I just want to make people laugh and go places and get it paid for. That's all I really want. And I know if I meet a woman again and spend a long-term relationship, longer than a week or a month, it's probably going to be after I'm making more money than I am today. And I'm never going to know what her intentions are. So those are my thoughts on MGTOW and hypergamy. Thanks for watching. I'm living me. Are you living you?